Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another pre-market watch list today. So if this is your first time joining in with us, thank you very much. All we really do. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me turn that down. Whoa. So ideally, what we do every morning is try and find some good stocks to trade, review them, analyze them for your guys' trading day essentially. So if this is your first time joining in, thank you. If you're returning, thank you very much. But to be honest with you today, guys, I'm a little off my game. Been working really hard lately. Clearly, I can see it's taking a toll on the mental health right now. Because today alone, I don't seem to, for whatever reason, I don't like any stocks. Nothing looks good to me. And that's not because nothing looks good or isn't good. It's just because I'm not on my game today. So there's only one thing I'm really going to watch. There's only a couple things I'm going to watch. So I'm just going to briefly talk about that. And then I'll, at that point, just kind of want to go over some of the stocks that you guys might be looking at and try and give you a better understanding of what, would be the best way to maybe trade something you guys are looking at. But today for me, I'm probably not even going to trade. I'm probably going to sit back and watch. If I see something that looks really good, then yeah, maybe I'll trade. But I can already tell you right now, I'm not feeling it. And it just is what it is, right? A lot of work, not enough sleep. Um, you know, and that's it. I'm just not feeling it. So let's let's take a look at one of the stocks that I was looking at or considering today was come on, HTZ, or no, not HTZ. What was it? HLT? There we go. HLT. This is the one that was that leading gapper yesterday that ended up doing pretty well. We traded it once, and then ended up continuing up for the rest of the day. Either way, what I want you guys to think about is the price closed right around $80 yesterday, and it went up all day, right? It went up all day, and it closed really high. So whenever stocks go up and then they close their day really high, that means they have a pretty good chance to continue up the next day. So ideally, I'm going to watch HLT for a potential long. If you look at it from like a yearly chart, it's had a choppy kind of run down, but that choppy rundown is slowing, right? It's definitely slowing down. And, some would argue that this is a potential bull flag, right? I mean, if you mark it out like that, it's more like a falling wedge, but some would argue that this might even be a bull flag, whatever, right? At the end of the day, what I'm really looking at is a possible long play on HTZ over like the $80 mark. So over this $80 mark, right in this zone, this is where I'm looking for a long, right in that yellow box. I want to see what happens in that yellow box. So that's like, the price of $80 to like $80.35, right in that area. I'm kind of watching for a long. Oh, wow. Sorry, guys. See, as you can see, totally not on my game today. Totally off my game. All right, 1 second. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now you guys are seeing it. All right. So now that the screen is completely shared, and like I said, I'm not on my game. The screen is here. We're looking at it. Now we're good to go. So the one stock that I'm for sure looking at is HLT. This is the only one so far that I've really come across this morning. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll trade this one. Other than that, for whatever reason, I'm just not in the zone. So I think HTZ could be a good long. It had a really strong day yesterday. It's possible that many other traders are going to watch this today for a continuation. This yellow box right here is ideally where I might look for a long, just because the price went up all day. It closed really high. And whenever prices do that, there's a strong possibility they can continue higher. So this yellow box I have mapped out here is really, I'm not going to zoom in, but that's $80 to $80.35. This is going to be like the key level, right? It's either we get in here and then we continue higher, or we get in here and then we fail and then we start pulling back. So if HTZ rejects the $80 mark, we could look to short it. But if we break up over like 80.35, we could look to go long. So I'm more long biased on this right now. And if you look at the yearly chart, you know, like I was saying before I shared the screen, you know, some would argue that this could be like a long-term bull flag, a falling wedge in which the price is starting to break to the upside, but you're right on resistance. So ideally, it's kind of like borderline on resistance and ready to kind of pop and run, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with that with HTZ. That's the one primary one that I like the most. All right. Now I want to touch just on the market itself. So we know that, yeah, market's been coming down. There's been a lot of volatility, so on and so forth. But when you look at it today, or actually let's do like let's do a 20-day chart. I should probably do it. Yeah, so if you look at this 20-day chart, right, there's definitely resistance at the price of, was that 267. Then there's resistance right at about 266.63. Then we have more resistance right at 266. Then we have another resistance point right at 265.75, right? So there is just, I mean, there's endless resistance points where the price of the market has failed to get above the 267 and 266 and 260. Right in this area is a major resistance point, right? Super strong resistance. The way I see it, and the way I told you yesterday, is we are still, in fact, trending up because we are making higher lows on the way up. But just recently, or not recently, but we've also been making lower highs. So if you look at this, right, from this high, sorry, so from that high is, you know, higher than this high. Right, so you can see that we're steadily decreasing. So the buying pressure has been getting a little bit less over these past couple days, right? Buying pressure is getting a little less. And so it's very possible that we're going to start seeing the SPY roll over. And if it breaks, ideally, if the market breaks this trend line, that one right there, we should see the market start coming down. And then we might have a bounce off of this trend line. But, you know, so ideally, this is where we're at. Either the market's about to squeeze up pretty hard or it's going to roll over and die. Today might be the day. I've been waiting for this day for quite some time. Today might be the day, and if it's not today, then it's most likely going to be tomorrow on Friday. So right now, the market looks pretty bullish, but I still think that long-term we're coming down. I still think that, still stand by the long-term aspect of a bearish move. But, you know, let me draw it like this. Let me put it like this. Like, look at this. We're starting to go like that. And then the lower, or the highs are starting to kind of go like this. That's the way I kind of see it, is going like that, where it looks like we're ready to go like this. That's the way I'm kind of seeing it. Of course, everybody sees it a little differently. If you were to do straight lines, it would look something like this, which is more of a bullish pennant, but either way, you can still break down out of it. So I still have a bearish outlook on the market as a whole, but today it does look pretty bullish, like it's going to try and go higher. So something we could look for is maybe a rejection here at 265. If that happens, maybe you can get long on, you know, some inverse ETFs and things like that. Yeah, there was news about like Trump saying he was going to attack Russia with missiles or shoot missiles at Syria or some crazy stuff like that. And the market's still going up, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, so those, I mean, that's primarily what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch ATZ. I'm going to watch the SPY. And really that's honestly, guys, that's primarily what I'm going to do today. I don't think I'm going to trade. Clearly can't do much right today anyways. So if there's some stocks you guys want me to look at, please go ahead and throw them out in the search bar right now. We'll take a few minutes to run through these stocks, and then I will be on my way. You guys can do you, and then we'll be good to go. So again, now's the time. Let me know if you guys have any stocks you want me to take a look at. Okay, BLCM it is. BLCM, I'm not a big fan of. I looked at it this day. What BLCM reminds me of, it reminds me of what was the stock yesterday? Was that VHC? Yep, it was. This BLCM reminds me of VHC, where we gapped up and we just basically started coming down. Now look at BLCM. Oh, come on. So probably not going to trade that. If you look at the daily chart, you'll see BLCM basically gapped all the way into resistance because the price was $9, and look at all the resistance here at 9. So BLCM basically gapped right into resistance, and now it's fading out. So not a huge fan of that. Next one is Watt down the list. Yeah, Watt gapped up on that good news and completely dumped out, right? We watched that. So if you look here, right, statistically speaking, 90% of the stocks that gap up, or just in general, 90% of stocks that gap end up filling their gap, whether it's to the upside or the downside. 90% of the time, they fill the gap. So look at it, ready? This was the gap. From here to there was the gap. Now look at what happened. The stock came all the way down and filled that whole gap. So just know that 90% of the time when stocks gap up overnight or in the morning, 90% of the time they will end up filling that gap, because gaps like this are really just irrational buying pressure or selling pressure for whatever reason, and it's almost an overreaction, right? So with Watt, a lot of people sold this and a lot of people short sold this. So what I recommend doing is starting to watch Watt because it's right on support. So this is not a bad one to actually kind of like this. Now I might watch this. So thank you for pointing my attention this way. So you can see Watt's on support. And when people start shorting this, right, eventually they have to buy it back. So if this just straight starts trading sideways and holding support, short sellers will probably start covering up and then it'll pop like that. So today might actually be a good day to watch WATT for a long, maybe. All right. Gush, Gush. Oh, I still, okay. Did I look? I could have swore someone we were looking at, maybe it was yesterday. I could have swore someone asked me about a swing trade on this. So looking at the daily chart, you got a lot of resistance on Gush. I mean, look at this, right? Like right in this area. I mean, the price is coming up to retest some of this previous, marks over here. So it's possible to start getting really choppy in here. You have this whole area is just filled with resistance right now. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be the best play, but again, I don't necessarily follow it all the time. And it kind of chops around. So it's kind of hard to judge exactly what direction it's going to go because it always kind of gaps and spaces. So if you're going to trade this would ideally have to be this is more of a swing trading stock than it is a day trading stock. And you got to tell yourself it's already up really big over the past couple of days. So more susceptible to a pullback, and it's starting to gap down this morning. So I'd be more short bias or just neutral on Gush. All right, to the next one. KGC. Yeah, you could be long bias on KGC probably because it gapped down, and I just got done telling you that 90% of stocks fill their gaps. So as you can see, we've already filled almost 50% of the gap, 60-70%. But again, we've been trending up for a couple days. We're starting to gap down this morning, so watch out. It actually looks like it's going to drop a little bit today on that. What's the daily chart look like? Wait. Yeah. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I'm kind of neutral on that one. AAOI. So yeah, AAOI has basically been trending down since it hit the price point of like $100. So This thing got short sold for a long time. We just kind of bottomed out here at 22.54. There's probably some news as well. I would imagine there's probably some type of positive news that came out. Oh, there was actually, yeah, yep, there was some positive news. It looks like, or no, yeah, okay, maybe it did. So yeah, there's some positive news about other people that are starting to become more interested in AAOI, starting to pop off. Understand that we're right at resistance, which is $30, right? We're right at major resistance, so you could possibly watch it long over 30, but you also got to be careful because right after 30, you have resistance here too as well, which is at 32, and then you're going to have resistance here, which is going to be at 35. 35 will be major resistance on that. So yeah, for day trades, yeah, you got to be in and out. You're looking for 30, 40 cents. When you're swing trading, you're looking at a wider time frame. But, AAOI, yeah, there's some volume picking up. We're starting to move. We're starting to reverse trend, right? So this wouldn't be bad to watch long in the coming days to weeks. If I had to do like a trend line on it, well, that one wouldn't really work very well because you go out to there. You could go from here to here. There you go. Right, so AAOI is right now trying to break out of the downtrend pattern it's been in. So right now it's starting to reverse. So it could be very good to watch long. NVCN. NVCN, probably not going to trade that. It trades on heavy volume, but it's all the way down to 30 cents. Don't mess around with it. It's not a good stock to trade. TZMD. That isn't even a ticker. Okay. CPG. CPG, not a day trading stock, more or less probably a swing trading stock. It's right on resistance. I probably wouldn't suggest as a buy because it's right at resistance. So you're probably more susceptible to a pullback right now on CPG. We went over what? CRON. I looked at this one earlier. So CRON may not be bad. It's right on support. So technicals point that right now CRON is a buy based on technicals because you're right on support. Leaving complete fundamentals out right now, it is a buy because you're on support. Let's see what's the next one. NKTR. NKTR, the stock that never stops going up. Oh. NKTR, I'd be neutral. I wouldn't be long bias. I wouldn't be short bias. I'd be neutral right now because all it's really doing is doing a sideways consolidation. Traders aren't sure whether or not they want it to continue higher or if they want it to continue lower. So they're kind of just waiting for a breakout. So that's either going to be over the upwards trend line or a breakdown below the downward or the trend line support. So right now, neutral NKTR. What else do we have? PTIE. Sure. PTIE actually looks pretty damn good. Low volume, literally no volume, but it's coming towards what we call a breakout. So you could watch PTIE for potential breakout here over. Well, it's already over, basically right at this $8 area. Holy cow, the spread is $1.45. That's unrealistic. So that's not even cool. Yeah, I mean, the volume's so low that most people aren't even probably paying attention to it. So, man, not going to watch that. Probably not going to trade that. AGC. We already went over that one. TVIX, not going to touch on TVIX today. X going back up, hopefully, maybe. It's still chopping around, isn't it? Yeah. I've lost faith in that because if the head and shoulders pattern were most likely going to happen, it probably would have already happened. I mean, it's still holding up. It's still holding this little trend. So maybe continue to watch that for potential long in the future. Sprint, whatever happened to Sprint yesterday? I forgot to watch that. Sprint's right at resistance too. Right here, the 200 moving average on the daily chart. So Sprint's right at resistance, so not much of a buy signal there. DPW is way too low on volume to trade. most likely. Yeah, DPW too low on volume to trade. It's right at $1. It probably won't break back up above $1. So CRS, AKER, leave it alone. It's a junk stock. As I stated a couple months back, not a couple months back, a couple weeks back, it was sure enough going to dump out right at $1. No one believed me, which is fine, but it did in fact dump out right at $1. And but let me state this: though it did dump out at $1, they had so many FDA approvals they were going to come out with. The news was great. This was an amazing company. If you just read the news and you research them, they have these FDAs coming up. They got conference calls coming up, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know. I've heard it a million times before. So anyways, that's about all I got for you here today, guys. So that is, in fact, all I have for you today. So we did do a lot of stock searching. I hope that helps some of you guys. For me, kind of an off day. Probably not going to really trade. Probably going to relax a little bit. And just take it easy on today's trading. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. I will see you guys all tomorrow morning. Hopefully a little bit more rested up, on top of my game. With that being said, make sure to check out the description box below. That's how you can join into our trading room. That's how you can join into our Facebook group and things like that. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning. But there's going to be some really cool, there's going to be a lot of cool additions coming to the course. Soon we'll have our options trading room available. Soon we're going to have a macroeconomics section in our course. Not that you necessarily want to learn about economics, but if you're already involved in the trading world, understanding economics will help greatly with your broader knowledge of the market. So we're soon going to have a macroeconomics section in our course. Our mastering penny stocks is almost completely done. Then we're going to have our options trading section. So a lot of cool things coming. I'll keep you guys posted on that. So other than that, take care, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow morning.